Welcome to Body by Design. I'm your host, Blue Driver, a women's strength training and metabolism coach. I went from years suffering hormone imbalances, looking soft and bloated, to symptom-free and building muscle for a toned athletic physique. Since then, I've made it my mission to empower women to take control of their own health, hormones and body composition. So grab a cup of coffee and let's build your body by design. Hello and welcome back to the Body by Design podcast. If you are a 40 plus woman desperately trying to be part of the midlife movement where you're strong, hot, sculpted, feeling really confident in your body, but you actually are finding yourself emotionally spiraling every time something happens, or you're not sure if you're doing the right thing or you're not seeing the result, then this episode is for you. Be sure to share it around with any of your friends that you think would be feeling the same. So let's start with, there are two things. I'm winging it today, by the way. Normally I kind of create an outline first, but I'm just going to wing it today. Let's start with two things. The first thing is right now, it is January 2026 at this point of recording. And for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, please go follow me on Instagram, strengthtraining.nutritionist. But I am seeing everywhere the whole, it's January, join our challenge, 2026, 8-week challenge. I don't get into, for those of you who know a bit more about me, I don't get into the marketing trends on Facebook or Instagram or any of those platforms. I'm just here being me, giving you the real truth, showing you what I do and how my method works is essentially what I'm here doing. And I am not going to get into the marketing gimmicks, and challenges are one of them. And really, they only produce a challenge to get you into coaching. Fortunately, women are still believing of the 12-week challenge, the 8-week challenge. They're going to get the body they want. If you truly want to be a midlife makeover, part of that movement where you take control of midlife, and it's like a rebirth. Particularly, I've got a lot of mums, not just mums, but I do have a lot of mums that come into my program. And it's almost like we hit 40, the kids are growing up, or they've left the nest, they've become more independent, they don't need you anymore. And all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck? Who am I? Where did I go? Where did my body go? Where did my health go? Menopause hits and you're like, fuck, I thought this was meant to get easier. And you feel like you're on a downhill slide crashing. And it just doesn't have to be like that, but you need to get rid of that 12-week mindset. You need to embody the woman that you want to be. And every one of those pages out there that you're seeing that are midlife women who have taken hold of this movement, taken hold of their health, taken hold of their body composition, they live it. That's not saying it's obsessed and it infiltrates everything in your life. It actually enhances your life. But it is a lifestyle to choose training and health. It absolutely is. But the benefits that come with it are just so amazing, and they filtrate into everything in your lives, the way you interact with people, the way your relationships are, the way you perform at work. You know, there's a difference. Like if you're dragging your ass through the day because you're constantly tired, feel weak, hungry because you're constantly restricting, then you're going to show up like shit, aren't you? It doesn't matter whether it's a relationship or work or whatever. Brain fog. So start thinking like the woman you want to be. Hold yourself high and go, I am a midlife woman and I am in the movement, because you have to be her now. You can't be her when you get there, because to get there, you have to be her. Your body is simply a symptom of your lifestyle and habits. So change the lifestyle and habits and your body will follow. So you have to be her first. So there's that first thing. Forget the 12-week challenge and accept that this is your life. And then there becomes no rush. Then there becomes no pressure to actually perform and get results in 12 weeks, or I failed because it didn't work. Geez, you could say I failed. I hurt my back in August, couldn't train for 5 months. My body is not where it used to be. Do I see that as a failure? No, it's just a season in life. And I've just continued with all my methodology and all my beliefs and living that healthy lifestyle. One, the surgeon was absolutely gobsmacked at how I recovered. He was like, what the fuck? How did you do that so fast? Health, because I live it, breathe it. I don't do it for 12 weeks and then drop it. And it's just life. You just keep going, because if I stopped, I'm only going to go further backwards, aren't I? So just keep going and it comes back, and it is now. I'm so happy with my muscles coming back. The other thing though is, so yes, embody that. Forget about the 12-week challenges. I know you're being absolutely smashed with these 8 and 12-week challenges everywhere on Instagram and Facebook and everything right now. Please don't get sucked into that. Decide in this moment that it is going to be your lifestyle. Then the other thing is, though it's very much about embodiment and mindset and the way you feel inside before it actually happens, and then there is that whole side to it, there's actually another very practical, strategic side to it. And you do need some sort of a process that you know that if I do this and this and this plus this equals body of my dreams. And that's where we're going to take you. My camera's moving around. And that's where we're going to take you. So you want a formulation. And what this actually does is it stops the emotions from spiraling out of control. And it's data. Data will save you. And it sounds kind of really restrictive and clinical, but it's actually not when you get into it. It's a guidance tool. So when you're jumping on the scales and you see the scales going up and down, and you're going, oh my God, is it working? Isn't it working? You can't tell because the scale is one unit of measure. You might be going to the gym every day and you're like, am I growing muscle? Muscle's actually really slow growing. And it's kind of like when you're changing your body composition, it's kind of like as a mum, as your children grow up, especially when they're little, and someone hasn't seen them for maybe 3 months, and all of a sudden they see their children, they go, oh my God, how little Johnny's grown. And you go, really? Okay, no worries. But you're looking at little Johnny every single day and you're not seeing those micro changes, all right? Someone that has saw them here and now see them here, that hasn't been influenced by those micro changes every day, notices the difference. So how do you know that you're growing muscle? How do you know that you're dropping body fat? How do you know you're heading in the right direction of whatever your goal is early enough to change the direction, to change what's not working before you get a year down the track and go, fuck, it's new year and I'm still where I was last new year. What happened? Tracking the data. Yes, I'm going to say it. Track your food, please, people. It gives you so much information. Track your food and get consistent. But there are so that's one thing, and you get rid of the variation, because with women, we can actually diet on as little as 200 calories, depending on who you are and what your base is. But, a variation in your food, 200 calories is actually fuck all food. So if you're not tracking your food or you don't understand how much food changes, so let's take a great example, 200 grams of watermelon and 100 grams of grapes, half the amount, but same amount of carbs. So if you're kind of having the same volume of watermelon or grapes, you've just blown out your carbs because it's double the carbs in grapes. But you don't know that because you've never tracked and looked at the numbers. It's for observation. And as you observe and understand the information coming in, and you're fucking smart, intelligent women that can learn, all right? You're a smart, intelligent woman. Seeing the food on a plate that you've weighed and then looking at a tracking app and going, oh, it's got this many carbs. Oh, it's got this many calories. That's how much I need. That is going to relieve a lot of pressure. The other things we want to actually be measuring, which is super, super, super important, body fat and muscle mass, because this is what it is all about. Reducing your body fat and increasing your muscle mass. That's what most women need to do. That doesn't mean diet all the time, but you want to be implementing a strategy that is growing muscle and losing body fat. Now, you can do that simultaneously, or you can do them in different periods of time. You can go, right, this is where I'm focusing on muscle growth, right, this is actually a fat loss phase, and you can dip in and out of them. Depends where you are, what your training's like, your starting point. There's all sorts of different things that can happen there, but you can do them simultaneously earlier on. The more advanced you are, you might want to break those up into specific phases, for want of a better term. But if you aren't tracking that data to go, am I headed in the right direction? You're never going to know. And then you're going to get 6 months, 12 months down the track and go, well, fuck, didn't really lose any body fat. What happened? Or I didn't really get any stronger. What happened? So you want to be tracking your muscle mass and fat loss. Now I've got a stray hair that's driving me nuts. I'm under a fan here because we've had a cyclone and outside is just horrendously humid, and it put a piece of hair that was sticking to my face. Sorry. Right, back on track. Body fat and muscle mass. plenty of calculators online that can do that for you. You can get in-body scans, you can get DEXA scans. Running an in-body scan and a DEXA scan can be quite expensive after a while, and I would suggest that you should at least be doing that monthly. If you use a calculation, just pick something that you know is reliable and that has been tested and that you stick to the same method. Your DEXA scan is going to be different numbers to your in-body scan, different numbers to the calculation that you can use with online calculators. So they can, and one calculator to another can show a different results. You can also use calipers for body fat. Now, the thing there is just use the same one. The numbers actually aren't as important as what you think. Just use the same one and be consistent. And that's where I say, if you want to track and get on top of things early, that a DEXA scan and an in-body scan can be quite expensive after a while. I personally use with my clients calculations. I've actually tried and tested all the different calculators out there. And for the type of woman that I get into my coaching and that I specialize in, I have picked a very accurate calculator. And in my coaching, my ladies are about to get access to that as well as the macros and all that sort of stuff that I have refined, not only with choosing the correct calculation that works for a 40 plus perimenopausal woman's body, but also one that I've put in my own parameters, that through my own experience and years of coaching hundreds of women, that I see different results and different things. And I have put some parameters into my own calculator that kind of niche that down. But you can choose a calculator online that will at least give you an idea, but test it out. Try it out for a few weeks. Is your body weight going up or down? Try it out at maintenance. Is your body going up or down? And then just adjust accordingly. So you really want to track that body fat and muscle mass. And I'm going to use a really great example here. So I've got a client of mine that's been in for a while, and she wanted to start focusing more on just getting them, remaining at kind of maintenance, but getting those muscle gains. So if the, body fat wasn't really her focus, but she did want to get stronger and she wanted to focus more there. And she said to me, right, let's try a 4-day program, but I'm really looking for some glute and shoulders or the rest of it. So we changed up her program a bit. She'd previously trained at 3 days a week. We added a 4th day in, changed up the structure of it, and I added in some glute and shoulder specialization. And then after about 4 weeks, I'm like, hey, look what's going on here. Because she had put in a check-in. I'm really pleased that over the last few weeks, I've maintained my body weight. And I went, yeah, okay, you have. And that was what we wanted to do. However, part of the second half of that process was kind of maintain your body weight. That's actually secondary. The main thing was we wanted to grow muscle mass and either maintain or slightly reduce your body fat. And when we looked at the figures and the graphs, tracking the data every week, it had turned. She was no longer growing muscle and she was gaining body fat, but the scales were staying the same. Now, if you only ever weighed yourself, you would never have picked that up in 1 month. We picked it up in 1 month. And I was able to go, right, first thing we did was trawl through her nutrition and her nutritional timing and making sure that, one, she was timing her food well to fuel her training and recover from her training, made sure there was no nutritional gaps. We covered all of that off. She's great with her food. She's really consistent with her food. There were no issues there. So what is the other thing? The change that we made was her programming. You are not recovering from the 4 days. So we had to reshuffle again. So she was in a program that she was recovering from. And this is actually a real thing. And it doesn't mean that your body is not responsive or broken just because all of a sudden you're not responding to a program. It's just everyone is different. Everyone is really different. So we had to modify her program so she could get more recovery. And as soon as we modified her program, everything turned around in the other direction. Now imagine if we didn't track those. She would be going along, looking at her body weight, going, yeah, I'm great. Scale's good. Emotionally regulated because the scale's not going anywhere. However, in the background, what she wanted was actually not going on. And it wouldn't be till months down the track that she would be going, hey, I actually don't, the muscle's not coming. Where's it coming from? I thought I would be seeing muscle by now, or I thought I'd be stronger in the gym by now. Why isn't it happening? And then you've got to backtrack. And the further down the track you get, the less likely you are to pinpoint exactly what was happening. We knew that even though I double checked her nutrition, she's always been really good there. We knew the only change that had been made was her training program. And when we nutted down and I asked a few questions, we really discovered that it was recovery from training that was the issue. So body fat, muscle mass, really important to track. How do you get body fat and muscle mass? Another thing you need to be doing is your measurements. So your weight can stay the same, or your weight can be going up and you might be spiraling. And this is where a lot of ladies kind of spiral a lot, is like, oh my God, the scale's going up. But is it going up because of muscle mass? If your body fat is maintaining the same and your muscle mass is going up and your weight is going up, it means your muscle mass is going up. And because you're tracking your muscle mass and your body fat, as you see the scale going up and clients go, oh my God, I'm gaining weight. We go, yes, you're gaining weight because why? Your body fat is maintaining and your muscle mass is going up, which is exactly what you want to be because you are in a muscle build focus phase. Say that's what they're in. Okay. Now they know why the scale's going up. Something else that happens with women when they're not tracking the data is they'll go into a deficit, and in the first week, 2 weeks sometimes, it's glycogen coming out of your muscles, okay, before you actually go into fat burning. So what glycogen is basically surplus carbs that come into you that you go, okay, I've not burnt them off with energy, with movement. So now your body goes, right, I'm going to put that away for storage. So it takes the carbs, puts water with it and shuffles it into your muscles as glycogen, but it's using water to put it in, okay? So that is weight on the scale, the water. It's retaining water to put the glycogen into your muscles. So in the first week, you might see dramatic drops, but it's just glycogen coming out. They get to the end of the deficit, they feel really good, and they go, great, I achieved X number on the scales. And then they start eating again at maintenance, and this is where the emotional spiral happens. And I hear a lot of people go, my body doesn't tolerate carbs because the minute I started eating carbs again, I gained weight. Yes, in the first 2 weeks, you will gain weight. End of story. If you have been in a deficit, your body used all of its stores of glycogen, which is its backup fuel, before it starts burning body fat, because when it's run out of its backup fuel, it goes, shit, now I've got to start converting some fat, which is harder to do. That's why it goes to the glycogen first. I've got to start burning this fat. And that's how you lose the body fat in a deficit. But the minute you eat more carbs again at maintenance that is going to maintain your weight, your body goes, woohoo, extra fuel, extra carbs. So what does it do? I better put it away as backup. So it takes the carbohydrates, mixes it with water and shuffles it into your muscles as glycogen, and your muscles fill out and the scale goes up because it's water. But it's not body fat. And if you're not tracking that data, you won't see it. Everything is graphed in my coaching. So we can literally see a line, and they'll come out of their deficit and they're like, I'm going up. You can go up 1.5 kilos, sometimes 2 kilos in glycogen, but it's not body fat. I literally see people push down their body fat even more, but their muscle mass go up. Because why? Their muscle mass is going up because it's been filled out with glycogen, but they're still burning the body fat and it goes down. But people spiral with emotion when they see that scale go up because you're not tracking the other data that tells the true story. Going back to macro tracking and the glycogen are the big reason to actually be tracking and consistent with the amount of calories. You want to confirm your maintenance, so you start there. Then go into a deficit of 10 to 20%, depending on who you are, what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and what your body health is, okay? A deficit between 10 and 20%. That could be like, say, someone eating 2,000 calories starts at a 10% deficit. They go down to 1,800. 200 calorie decrease. Yet you're in my DMs telling me, oh yeah, I eat 1,800 to 2,000 calories. Well, let me paint this picture for you. When you're not tracking the data and being consistent with that data, executing that data and tracking that data, this is exactly what is happening to you. Let's say your maintenance is 2,000 calories. And then some weeks you go, right, I'm really going to think about what I'm eating. You're not tracking, you just naturally start restricting. And now you're actually consuming around 1,800 calories and the scale's going down in that first week, first 2 weeks. And you're going, yeah, this is great. What then happens? What is happening when that happens? It's your glycogen coming out of your muscles in the first 2 weeks, week and a half, like week to 2 weeks, somewhere in there. It's taking the water, it's taking the glycogen from your muscles. So to get it out of your muscles, it pulls the water out and it puts it into your body, and you burn that first because you're in a deficit, which is a reduction of energy. You have less energy than you're expending. So your body goes, oh, I need to top you up. I better take my stores. And it uses the water from there to pull it out again and burns that up. So the scale goes down. But because you're not actually tracking your food, you're not understanding how much you're eating, and you're telling me, oh yeah, I don't need to track, but because I know I eat 1,800 to 2,000, well, you're going deficit, maintenance, deficit, maintenance, deficit, maintenance. Glycogen in, glycogen out, glycogen in, glycogen out, glycogen in, glycogen out. Get the picture? Because when you go back to 2,000 calories, your body goes, wow, I've got more carbs again, and puts that glycogen back into your muscles with water, and the scale goes up. And then you go, I'm not losing body fat. No, you're just shifting glycogen in and out of your body because you're not consistent with your tracking. You have no fucking idea what you're eating. You actually don't. If you're not tracking, or you've never spent an amount of time tracking, or maybe you've tracked before and now you're going, oh yeah, I'm doing 1,800 to 2,000 calories, but I'm not losing weight. I must need to go to 1,600. No, when you want to be specific about something, it's wise to pull that tool back in and get very specific, because 200 calories is a very small amount to shift between. And it's very, very, very easy to overeat. Okay, so track your food and be consistent. Take your measurements. If your measurements are going down and your weight is staying the same, you're gaining muscle. You're getting smaller. Who gives a fuck what the scales say? You're not walking around with a label on your head with what the scale says. It's just a tool to help you work things out. We do use scale weight. Scale weight is actually used in the calculation when you use the calculation method of body fat and muscle mass. The scale is actually used along with measurements. So it's actually used, but the scale really means nothing. The body you want is all about muscle mass and body fat, and you get that from the data. And the quicker you see how your body is responding, I mean, like, I have women that go, great, I'm on a 4-day upper lower split, and they train like a beast, and they recover and they fuel, and they get fantastic results. And then I have other women that go into an upper lower split. They've got similar maintenance calories. They're fueling themselves really well, but they can't recover and they're not gaining muscle. They're different to the other woman. They've got different stresses in their life. Their body had a different set point that it starts from. Maybe you need an anterior posterior split. So you do a little bit of upper and a little bit of lower. And you do that over 4 days. Do the front of your body, the back of your body is pretty much what that is. And you do that over a 4-day split, and women can recover much easier from that. So if you don't have tools to measure, am I recovering from this training split? Because it's not that an upper lower split is wrong and not good for women in perimenopause because, central nervous system. No, it's just not good for that woman because she is not, or that person, because it can happen in males too. It's just not good for them at this point in time because they're not recovering. They're simply not getting stronger, and the body fat is not going down. The muscle mass isn't going up. So find that out as soon as you can. Fuck me, we're in our 40s, our 50s. You do not want to waste any more time with this. You have spent your life up and down, up and down, up and down, giving to everyone else. If you want to be part of the midlife movement with a strong, hot and sculpted body, do it the quickest way possible. 1, you need a process. 2, identify as that person and live like them. And 3, look at the fucking data and use it to your advantage because it is the quickest possible way to get there when applied with consistency. I promise you that. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye until next week. I'm trying to do my podcast weekly now. Don't forget, follow me on Instagram if you're not already. Please take some time to like this podcast if you actually got something out of it. This year, I'm really trying to grow my podcast. It's done extremely well to date, and I would love for this to get out and help more women. The midlife movement is here. Be that granny in the gym teaching her grandkids to deadlift. And if you want to be part of this podcast will help you. So share it around, leave a review, follow it, and I will speak to you next week.